Charleston White got into a heated physical altercation with Young Thug after publicly calling him out for featuring YFN Lucci on his new album. And when the two eventually crossed paths face-to-face, tempers flared, words turned into shoves, and fists started flying until security rushed in to separate them, leaving the hip-hop world buzzing even though no major injuries were reported. Charleston White has always been a man of controversy, a figure who thrives on confrontation, sharp commentary, and the kind of raw authenticity that makes headlines every other week. His rise from outspoken activist to internet sensation and cultural lightning rod has been defined by one thing: his refusal to back down from calling out rappers and street figures who he feels are perpetuating the same destructive cycles he has spent years condemning. He doesn't care about how famous you are, how feared you are in the streets, or how legendary your catalog is. If Charleston White has an opinion about you, best believe he's going to put out there raw and unfiltered for the world to hear. That is exactly what happened when Young Thug, who has been facing his own set of troubles with his ongoing legal battles and a career that's constantly fighting to prove it's still alive and relevant, released a brand new project that shocked a lot of fans. Not because of the beats or the lyrics, but because of one specific feature: YFN Lucci. For anyone who's been paying attention to Atlanta rap politics over the last decade, the tension between Young Thug and YFN Lucci has been no secret. They've gone back and forth online, thrown shade at each other, and their fan bases have often picked sides, fueling one of the most talked about rivalries in the city's modern rap history. So when Thugger's new album dropped and people noticed a track with Lucci's name on it, it felt like an earthquake in the culture. Was this a truce? Was this a power move? Was Thug trying to show growth, or was it something deeper? Well, Charleston White wasn't buying any of the explanations floating around. The moment he saw that collaboration, he went on one of his infamous live streams and lit into Young Thug with the kind of passion that only he can deliver. Please do not forget to like this video, share, and subscribe to this channel if you want more updates like this. Thank you. Now, let's get back into the video. Charleston accused Thug of selling out, of disrespecting the code of authenticity, and of trying to use Lucci's name to stir up clout and controversy. He called him all types of names, bashed him for turning his back on what he used to stand for, and even went so far as to question Thug's integrity as a man. It wasn't just casual criticism, it was a full-blown verbal assault, the kind of rant that you knew was going to get back to Young Thug and his camp sooner rather than later. And it did. Word travels fast in hip-hop, especially when Charleston White is the one doing the talking. Thugger reportedly heard the rant, laughed it off at first, but then behind the scenes, he was fuming. He told his people that Charleston was talking too reckless, and that one day, if they ever crossed paths, there was going to be a conversation. That conversation came sooner than anybody expected. The story goes that both Charleston White and Young Thug ended up in the same space during a private industry event. Nobody expected fireworks that night. It was supposed to be about networking, music, and connections. But when two powerful personalities like that walk into the same room, fate has a way of stirring the pot. At first, it was just side-eye glances. Charleston saw Thug across the way. Thug saw Charleston, and tension started to build in the air like a thunderstorm waiting to break. Witnesses say Charleston made the first move, walking directly up to Thug and saying, "You a sellout, boy. You don't stand on nothing." That was all it took. Thugger, never one to shy away from confrontation, when challenged in front of a crowd, fired right back. He told Charleston he was nothing but an internet personality, a man who built his whole platform off tearing down Real Street legends while hiding behind cameras and Wi-Fi connections. The exchange quickly got heated. Voices rose, and a small circle of onlookers started to form around them, sensing that this was about to escalate. And escalate it did. One shove led to another. Charleston, who has always presented himself as a man who doesn't care about being touched, pushed Thugger back when he felt him getting too close. That's when Thug swung first. According to people in the room, it wasn't the cleanest hit, but it connected enough to turn the room into chaos. Charleston, not about to back down, swung back, and suddenly we had ourselves a full-blown altercation between one of the most outspoken critics in the game and one of Atlanta's most iconic, if embattled, rappers. Security rushed in immediately, pulling the two apart before things could spiral into something far more dangerous. Both men were yelling over each other, threatening to finish it another time, and their entourages had to step in to calm them down. People in the crowd were stunned, not just by the fight itself, but by the fact that Charleston White had managed to take his words off the internet and bring them directly into Thugger's face. The news spread like wildfire. Within hours, social media platforms were ablaze with clips, rumors, and first-hand accounts from people who claimed to have witnessed a clash. Some said Charleston held his own surprisingly well, while others said Thug got the better of him before security stepped in. Either way, the general consensus was that this was one of the most unexpected, yet somehow inevitable, altercations in recent hip-hop memory. What makes this situation even more fascinating is the cultural backdrop. Young Thug, already fighting to keep his name alive in the midst of legal struggles, is at a point in his career where every move he makes is scrutinized under a microscope. Featuring YFN Lucci was already going to spark conversation, but now it has become the flashpoint for something much bigger. A conversation about loyalty, respect, and the blurred lines between art and street politics. On the other hand, Charleston White is once again proving why he is such a polarizing figure. Love him or hate him, you can't deny that he has a way of inserting himself directly into the heart of hip-hop debates. Some fans applauded him for standing on his words, for actually confronting Thugger instead of just talking online. Others criticized him for being reckless, for picking fights he didn't need to pick, and for once again stirring up negativity in a culture that's already drowning in it. The fallout from this altercation is still being felt. Thugger's camp has been mostly quiet, not wanting to feed into the narrative, but people close to him have hinted that he feels disrespected and isn't about to let Charleston's words slide. Meanwhile, Charleston has already taken to his platforms to tell his side of the story, claiming he wasn't scared, that he stood his ground, and that Thug learned that Charleston White isn't a man to be intimidated. No charges have been filed, no one was seriously hurt, but the moment is already cemented in hip-hop lore. It raises bigger questions. Should rappers and critics ever let their disagreements turn physical? Is Charleston crossing lines by continuously attacking rappers who are already dealing with enough?